Hello everybody, it is I, Rootbeer, and I am here with the final episode of Executioner. Can you believe we're already at the end? It feels like just yesterday that we started doing these reviews. It's gonna be a bit sad not having this show pop up on Fridays anymore, though I have to admit it's also going to be a bit of a load off not having to do a weekly drawing for it. But we're not here to talk about my video making process, let's get to the season finale of The Executioner and her way of life. Our episode picks up where the last one left off, with Pandemonium transforming into this big, goofy-looking CGI centipede. I'll admit, this is not what I had in mind when I read this part of the novels. Given the way that Pandemonium normally operates, I was kind of expecting this big mass of flesh that evokes the idea of a centipede but was not literally one. I've seen other people saying that the big goofy CGI is really fitting with the idea of this being a B-movie experience. Which, fair enough, I'll give you that. I still think a big flesh monster would have been way more gross and interesting, but that would have also been a massive pain in the ass to draw and animate. But goofy CGI aside, the fight itself is pretty good. It's a big climactic final battle, and it hits all the points that it needs to. Menno and Ashna really go all out and start throwing out all their biggest attacks. Pandemonium just keeps recovering and coming back for more. At one point, all of her parts get scattered around and then they all jump up and start rushing into the town, so Ashna has to go after them. And so Menno is stuck fighting alone and she's throwing out all the biggest spells from her scripture. But she's eventually overwhelmed and Pandemonium destroys the scripture. And then there's a really cool moment where Ashna throws Menno her sword and then just starts fighting all the monsters with her bare hands. And right as everything looks lost, Akari of course runs in to save the day, and she and Menno combine their powers to blast Pandemonium with one big final move. It's all really big and cinematic, and it's good fun watching it. It's also completely different from how this fight played out in the novels. This fight in the book took all of 2 pages to resolve. It is comical how anticlimactic it was. So props to the anime team for turning this into a big epic grand finale. Of course, this big final moment does create a bit of a logical inconsistency compared to the novels. In the anime, Menno now has a glimpse of Akari's true self. However, she never really stops to question it beyond asking her, so you really don't remember anything that just happened even though you were, clearly conscious when I saw you? She just kind of shrugs all of that off oh well, Pandemonium. Whereas in the novels, the last time Menno sees Akari during that incident is right after rescuing her from Manon, where Akari is clearly scared and confused, so it's a lot more understandable she might not remember anything because she's obviously stressed. And Akari doesn't do a whole lot after that, so there's no need for Menno to really question anything. But it's ultimately a minor point. In the aftermath of the fight, we have this really cool, creepy shot of Pandemonium's face as she starts to fade away, and her voice gets all distorted while she taunts Menno with the knowledge that the Sword of Salt could be her solution for finally killing Akari for good. It's a nice little moment. Pandemonium gets to twist the knife one last time, and Menno now has a new destination to work towards. Of course, having a more concrete goal in mind means Menno also has to seriously question whether or not she's actually going to go through with this. Of course, for now, she does resolve to go through with it, and confirms with Momo that she's going to kill Akari so that she doesn't become like Pandemonium. Momo, for her part, decides that Menno is becoming too compassionate in her motivations, and resolves to kill Akari in Menno's stead. And so, Momo going rogue is another potential pitfall for the future. After that, there's also a cute little moment with Menno and Akari back in their hotel, where Menno comes dangerously close to calling Akari her friend. Apparently, this is really deep foreshadowing for things that are going to happen in volumes 5 and 6, which are not currently in English, so I can neither confirm nor deny this. But Menno's identity is a bit in question right now. She has these strange dreams of her best friend in a classroom who appears to be Akari, and of course Menno reminds Pandemonium of the Ivory Hero. I've been speculating that Menno is probably some sort of reincarnation of Ivory, which, if that were the case, would also mean she was an otherworlder of some sort. So it's entirely possible that if that theory were true, Akari and Menno could have some sort of history, just a couple lives removed. But for now, all this is just speculation. In other news, Monon's back! Pandemonium decided to be extra based and brought Best Girl back to life. And she uses parts from Potato-kun to do it, so that's just an extra little FU to anyone who actually cares about that. Personally, I think it's really funny. Please cry more. Monon speculates, based on how she's acting, that Pandemonium is likely the sister that her mother talked about, and even though she's lost her humanity, Pandemonium may still have some aspect of her former self. And so our new duo promise to go out and cause more chaos, together as sisters. Aw, how sweet. The anime does leave out the detail that the two of them are specifically planning to free the director of the Fourth, who is coincidentally being held in the Grisarika Kingdom. It's not a huge deal. If they end up making a second season, this is something that can be easily covered with a throwaway line. And of course, like all good adaptations, we have to have a nice big read the source cliffhanger. Our final scene is of Flare receiving all the memories of the world, and expressing pleasure that 2 of the 4 errors are beginning to escape, and she declares that it's once again time for her to go out and kill her apprentice. The scene is actually heavily abridged from the novels. There's actually way more lore that gets dumped in this epilogue. Though, given that it's the season finale and there's no confirmation of a season 2 yet, it's understandable that maybe they don't want to give such a massive lore dump to end their show. And that's going to be the end of Executioner for now. It's been a really enjoyable ride overall. And, well, that's gonna be it for this video. Thanks for sticking with me throughout these 3 months. This is something I've been wanting to do for quite some time, and covering the series kinda gave me the kick in the butt I needed to really get started. I kinda started doing these reviews on a whim, and I'm glad I managed to stick with it until the very end. As for what comes next, I'm not 100% sure yet. I will probably do one more video of Executioner, just reviewing the show in its entirety. But after that, I'm not 100% sure what I plan to do next. I do have one particular idea that I've been sitting on for the last 7 years, and it's probably time that I put that one to rest. And of course, there's always the chance that something in a future season will catch my eye the way Executioner did. Though, if I do end up doing more weekly reviews, I am not doing weekly background arts to go with them. This was way more cumbersome than I expected, and it really bogged down the video making process more than anything. I also just really need to draw in a different resolution. I've been keeping everything 1920 by 1080 just so it fits on screen nicely, but oh my god. But, you know, that's enough complaining about art. If you like the video, then do all the things that appease the algorithm. As always, I do my own background art, link in the description. You can also follow me on Twitter at Plasma Eclipse, the link will be in the description as well. Thank you for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.